Coming up, why is a New York Times best-selling author willingly and enthusiastically going back to self-publishing? We'll have the answer to this and more with my guest, Scott Sigler, coming up on This Week in Books right now. Welcome to This Week in Books. My name is Mark Jeffrey, number 18. A couple announcements before we begin. Coming up at the end of the show, I'm going to tell you how you can win an iPad. This weekend is giving away an iPad to our viewers and listeners across the globe and elsewhere. So please stay tuned to the end, and I will tell you how to do that. Also, I'd like to invite you all to subscribe to This Week in Books on iTunes. It's free, and you know what? It's good for you. So we hope you all subscribe and find us on iTunes. And if you'd like to sponsor this show or one of the other 20 or so odd shows on the This Week in Network, I invite you to email mo@thisweekend.com. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show New York Times best-selling author and Parsec award-winning author, Scott Sigler. Scott, hello.
Howdy, how you doing?
I'm doing quite well. So first of all, thanks for being on the show. I know you've done Adam Carolla a couple weeks back, so
yeah.
You have no need to do our silly little show anymore. You've sort of moved on, so thanks for stopping in with us for a chat. And also, congrats on the Parsec. That's eluded you for how long now?
That one's the third one I've won so far.
Oh, but there were a couple. Was that you, or I guess that was Hutchins? That was
that was Hutch. That was nominated. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride situation. But he nailed one this year too. So
got it. Okay, I'm sorry,
shape.
I got you two mixed up in that. So
yeah.
Congratulations to both you and J.C. Hutchins for your win.
Thank you.
And for the folks who don't know, what is a Parsec in your own words?
A Parsec award is given annually to the year's best speculative fiction podcasts. That can either be an actual fiction story, it can be a full cast audio production, and then there are also categories for, say, if you have a show that does coverage of Firefly or fan fiction of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, etc. So things in the horror, science fiction, fantasy genre. Yep. And it's given for long form, short story, novella, all different kinds of categories.
But these are basically just for podcasts, not for if you're on audible.com, for example, as a published audiobook in the, I guess, legitimate world, if you will. Is that correct?
That's basically correct. If someone wanted to have a book up on Audible but was also giving that work away as a podcast, I imagine it would still be eligible for it.
Got it. Okay. So tell us, what are you up to right now? What is the latest thing that Scott Sigler is plugging in the world?
Well, we just finished the production of The Starter, which is a hardcover, limited edition, signed and numbered book that is the sequel to one called The Rookie. Right. And these are the books that the company I run with A. Kovacs is called Dark Overlord Media. It's a two-person shop, but we're publishing these books in hardcover. And it is a science fiction, sports, crime mashup. I call it Any Given Sunday meets Star Wars meets The Godfather. So we just finished shipping the pre-orders, and now we're working on getting the books out there. So that's what we're working on right now, writing the third book in that series, as well as rolling into the next book I'm writing for Crown Random House.
Right. So we're going to get into both the Rookie and the Starter in a moment. Those are the self-published books I want to talk about, and I find it very interesting that you've gone the traditional publishing route and then gone back and essentially created your own publishing company. So we're going to talk about that in just one second. So how many books total do you have in the marketplace right now?
Right now in the marketplace, I have 5.
Okay. And they are?
They are Infected and Contagious and Earthcore, which are published by Crown Publishing.
Yep.
And then The Rookie and The Starter. Got
it. And so Ancestor came out recently as well, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes. Infected, Contagious, Ancestor. I'm not sure what I said. Infected, Contagious, Ancestor. Ancestor just came out.
Yeah.
Probably a few months ago, and it is still out in hardcover in all the Borders, Barnes and Nobles, and stores of that chains.
Okay, we actually have the Ancestor book trailer, so why don't we roll that and have a look at it and see what that book's all about?
Oh.
Every 4 minutes, someone dies while waiting for a heart, a liver, a kidney. Imagine a technology that could provide those organs for a fee, and imagine what a company would do to monopolize that technology. The biotech firm Janata tried to solve this problem by creating the Ancestor, a creature with transplantable human organs. But they didn't get the docile herd animal they envisioned. Instead, their work awakened something big, something evil, something very, very hungry. You want a monopoly on human life.
Nothing sells like life itself. When we succeed, we will be the only vendor and be able to charge whatever the market will bear. And for the millions of people not quite ready for death, the market will bear quite a lot.
I don't know what that is, but that sure as fuck ain't no cow.
Okay, that was pretty cool. First of all, that's one of the better book trailers I've seen. Most of them are, I don't know, kind of Doctor Who, circa 1985, I think. So tell me, how long did you spend on that trailer first? And second of all, how come you didn't do the same thing for The Rookie and the Starter?
Well, we spent 2 days shooting it. We 4 a.m. left from LA, drove up into the mountains so we could find some snow. We shot the whole thing. And then we spent, I would say a good month to 2 months going through different revisions and editing. Real shoestring budget that we managed. What we managed to get done, what we have is quite impressive, thanks to Aaron Proctor, the guy who shot it, and Kevin Capizzi, the guy who did the special effects for it. And the reason we didn't do it for The Rookie and the Starter is The Rookie and the Starter would require a completely different level of special effects. And in Ancestor, you've got your summer blockbuster in book form, so you primarily have the one creature. We could focus our energies on that. The Rookie and the Starter, it is professional football played by 5 different races that you have to have all the races to play the game. So we really didn't think there was any way we could do a trailer that would even come close to doing the books justice. So we just we skipped them. Hopefully we'll get to that down the road with the next books in the series.
Okay, so basically it was no reflection on whether you believe in book trailers or not. You clearly do, because you've done one.
And there's no question. We still have the Infected book trailer from 3 years ago, which is up on YouTube, and is, I think, somewhere in the ballpark of 150,000 views total, which is really solid for a book trailer. But every day it's another 10, 20, 30 views on that trailer. The same thing for the Contagious trailer, and now the same thing for the Ancestor trailer. So a book trailer gives me a way completely independent of any marketing initiative by the publishers that I've got something online that people can see, get excited about, share with other people, and it's out there generating views for me and hopefully selling books.
Yeah, okay. So let's move on now. So you have become a New York Times best-selling author. You have 3 books published with Crown, all 3 of them with Crown. All doing tremendously well. You've made a name for yourself. And then you go back and you take The Rookie, first The Rookie and then later The Starter, and you go and create your own publishing company and put that on the market yourself. Why did you go and do that?
Well, first of all, we offered those books to Crown. We offered The Rookie to Crown, and it just wasn't in the wheelhouse of what they wanted to do. They really wanted to control my brand and my image and roll out books that were hard science, horror, modern-day thriller, and they wanted to be consistent with the product they were putting out. So they just weren't interested in The Rookie, and I asked them, do you guys mind if we put this out ourselves? And they were very agreeable to it. They said, as long as it's not in stores, as long as it's not causing confusion for the stores and our distributors, we have no problem, go crazy. So we totally had Crown's buy-in on it. And we put it out, and it's only available online on Amazon or from ScottSigler.com/therookie. Right. So it's really been done with a wink and a nod from Crown, kind of like, go ahead and do this. As long as it doesn't get in the way of what we're doing, we're not gonna stop you. So then we put out The Rookie, and I've always envisioned this as being a series, but The Rookie has been so successful as a podcast and as a hardcover book that we decided to go ahead and do the sequel. Partially from the success and partially from the fans who are just demanding the next book. And you know, you can only hear that for so long as a creator when people are saying, we really want it, we really want it. And if your job is to write things that people want to read and enjoy, then eventually you break down, figure out how do we get this second book done.
Okay, so most people that decide to do their own, to do self-publishing, would go to Lulu.com or BookSurge, which is Amazon's self-publishing route. Why didn't you go that way? Why did you do it yourself completely from beginning to end?
Well, it comes down to quality, and it comes down to profit margin on the books. We wanted to do a hardcover book with an embossed cover. We wanted to do 16 color pages inside. We wanted this to be really tricked out, something that you would pay $34.95 for and go, shoot, that was a bargain. You can't do that with Lulu. You really can't in BookSurge. If you do, the cost of producing the quality book that we put out is getting up $35, $40 a copy just in cost to produce.
Right.
Which means we would have had to charge $45 a copy. And look, I might be a good writer, but that's an awful lot of money to ask people to shell out. So we decided to do a 3,000 copy hardcover run so that we could do the quality we were looking for and yet still bring it in at a price that made sense to the fans who wanted to buy it. And when you get to the 3,000 copy run number, the cost per unit comes down where A and I could look at this and say, hey, you know what? By the time we get to the fourth and the fifth book and we have a back catalog, this is a viable business unto itself. This could be what we're doing for a living. So the final part of that was because of the audience I built up over 5 years of giving fiction away for free as a podcast, we were able to do a pre-order for the Rookie and for the Starter and sell, you know, over 1,000 copies the first day the thing went on sale. Bring that capital in, use that to produce a really high-quality book, and we had a profitable book from square one.
So you pre-sold your book yourself, and that provided essentially the venture capital money, if you will, for the print run. Did that pay for the entire print run of 3,000, or?
It was very close to it, yeah. I mean, we were technically, the way we figured it out, not counting our own sweat equity, we were profitable or very close to profitable the first day the book went on sale. So we're not selling Stephanie Meyer's or J.K. Rowling or Stephen King numbers by any means. But as a small two-person business, we're pretty excited that in a world where 95% of the books that are put out and lose money, our two books that we put out have turned a profit. So we're doing pretty good.
That is really awesome, dude. So so basically, so now you've done 3,000. Have you sold through the 3,000, and are you going to do another run, or where's that stand?
We're not sure. We're pretty close to getting to the end of the Rookie run. There's only a couple hundred books left. And apparently the word's gotten out amongst the fan base that there are a couple hundred of these left because they're starting to go pretty quick. We're more than halfway sold through the Starter run, and that's been out since September 7th.
Right.
So, and this is when we're recording this in September 29th. So it hasn't even been out a month yet. We're well over halfway through the print run. So there's the consideration of will we go out and print more, which brings up the issue of warehousing space, which we're not big enough to have a lot of yet, and the cost to go out and print these books and store them. We probably won't do another print run. We want to create that mentality for the fans that, yeah, you should probably order this on day one. You should pre-order this to make sure you get a copy, because when it's gone, it's gone. Then you can get an ebook, you can get it as an audiobook, but you probably can't get the hardcover anymore. That fear of loss, we hope, drives up the sales and keeps us profitable. What we are working on now is potentially trying to go out and find another publisher to do a paperback or a trade paperback run on them. And we're running into some issues there and some questions that we hadn't seen arise yet. Particularly, the publishers they want the hardcover and they want the ebook rights, and A&I aren't entirely sure that it's wise to give those up when you consider the growth of iPods and Kindles, et cetera, and where the market's going.
Right. And now just to clarify, so who is A?
A. Kovacs is the other half of Dark Overlord Media. So
Which
she
is
and
your
I
company.
found a company together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm primarily the creative side of things. She is primarily the logistical business side of things, getting the books done. But it blurs all over the place. It's two people in the house. So
you're a book startup, which is amazing. So
yeah.
So now you have. So going back to the idea of the warehouse, in traditional publishing, books that sit in a warehouse are death. And you've mentioned that, and I know you have the Warehouse of Doom, as you call it. So, so you actually do have a warehouse. I guess you're paying rent on this, and the remainder of all your books are currently housed there. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, primarily the way we do this, we do the pre-order, we go through pre-production, we work with R.R. Donnelly as the printer. They ship the books, and we rent a self-storage facility, basically the size of a one-car garage.
Yeah.
We have 5 pallets of books shipped, so we get 3,000 books in, and then we go through what we call Hell Week, which is fulfilling all the pre-orders and shipping out those 1,500 books and getting them out the door so that we can reduce the number of books we have, and then those go into a much smaller, like a 5x10 storage facility, and we just pay per month for that. So our warehouse is drastically cheaper than probably anybody in New York is dealing with.
Right. So now, how much do you sell the books for? What is the price for the Rookie right now?
The Rookie and the Starter go for $34.95.
Yep.
And at scottsigler.com/the starter, there's we've worked a lot with a big trend in online selling and advertising, which is the promo code. So we've got multiple advertisers where you can get a promo code and put it in and save $3 on the book. So if most people are buying the book, it's probably $31.95.
Got it. Okay. So once you clear the cost for the print run, you're making a pretty healthy profit. I mean, far and above what you would make with a traditional publisher in terms of percentage.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. That's one of the big dilemmas that we look at with this is if we're going to give up the rights to this, it's a YA series, and right now YA is the fair-haired kid at the prom. If we give that up, I'm sure a publisher like a Crown or Random House or Simon & Schuster could sell a lot of copies of this thing. It's
right.
Really, it's a unique book. It's YA. It's your classic quest story, but it much more caters to people who are into athletics as well as science fiction. So it's kind of a cool property. We think they could sell a lot of copies of this.
Yeah.
But if we do that, then we go back to the 12% royalty rate. So it's more books at a much lower royalty rate, or it's a lot fewer books at a higher royalty rate. That's kind of where we're at right now. We're still not sure what the answer is.
Right, and by YA you mean young adult for people who don't know what that is. So things like Harry Potter or, I guess Twilight.
Things like The Pocket and the Pendant, for example.
Or The Pocket and the Pendant, for example, exactly. So, but it's interesting because your book is very much, it's a very different kind of book. There really isn't a book that's even close to being like it in the young adult sector right now. So,
which is, as we're working with my agent, they're eager to go out and market this to publishing because it's unique and there's nothing else like it in YA right now.
Right.
It's not a vampire book. It's not a wizard book. It's something that's different. So there's competing pressures in the Dark Overlord media front as to what is the right answer to do. Do we go with big publishing, or do we continue to do our own thing, hold on to our back catalog, and wait as the market continues to shift more to ebooks, and we have that backlist of stuff? Because there's no storage on an ebook. Right. We don't have to pay for a warehouse on an ebook or a downloadable audiobook. That stuff just sits in space. If you look at the long tail, that will continue to make happy readers and make money for years and decades to come.
Yep. So how does your agent feel about this? I imagine your agent, because your agent's not getting a cut of any of this stuff.
Well, my agent's awesome. And he's pretty much anything that's going to go out and build the brand and make happy readers is all good. And right now, that's the big conversation with the agent. Of course, he's in business to make money for himself as well as for his client. So he would like to go out with these. And in order to go out, he feels he needs to be able to put it on the table. And we're really just wanting to sell the paperback rights right now. So it's a bit of a dilemma. So that's a conversation we're having with the agent right now. But he's totally fine with everything. He's happy with Crown. He's happy with these books selling on their own, and we have 2 more books in the Crown contract. So right now, kind of all roses in the Sigler camp.
Okay, so do you feel you would have been able to be? Do you think you would have been able to be successful at this had you not been published legitimately first, and second of all, as a New York Times best-selling author? Could someone off the street just go do this? Do you think?
Someone off the street can't do it, but the success of the Rookie and the Starter are significantly independent of what I've done with Crown, because the Rookie and the Starter sales have come because of the podcast feed, because every week at scottsigler.com, there is 20 to 30 minutes of free fiction up there for people to download and listen to.
Right.
And that that free content has allowed hundreds of thousands of people to try my stuff out, see if they like it. And out of that number, a certain percentage of them really like it and become diehard fans. Those diehard fans are the people who are buying the Rookie and the Starter because they're not in stores, they're not advertised. You're not going to hear about them in the New York Times book review. So yes, I mean, people can achieve that same level of success if they're willing to put in the sweat equity of 5 years worth of, building your online brand and bringing in readers and diehard fans by giving stuff away, then yeah, they can be successful at it too.
Sure. Now, okay, so who else is doing this model? Are you aware of anyone else doing the same model? I'm not.
I don't think there's anybody who's doing it like we are. There's a lot of people who are going the Lulu route, and Lulu's great if you want to make $2 or $3 per book. At that point you have to sell a lot of books to be able to consider making it a viable business that is eventually going to be your primary source of income. So there's people doing that. There's J.A. Conrath, who is taking a lot of his back catalog material and putting it up as ebooks, where he gets the rights back to the books after the publisher's done. Instead of going out and selling those again, he's doing his own imprint, if you will, putting them up in the Kindle store and making money that way. But as far as primarily author direct, doing hardcover print runs, I'm not aware of anybody else who is doing it that way.
Right. So So you started off on Podiobooks. I noticed this. So you and I actually both started off on Podiobooks.com back 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, years ago. I did, and I just noticed actually that because we do this weekend, we're always paying attention to the iTunes podcasting section, and I happened to notice that your book Ancestor, which is published by Crown, is also the free audiobook version, is also published for free in iTunes. And it's under your own label, so it's not even under Crown or Podiobooks. So I guess I have two questions. My first one is so Crown has a deal with you, they're printing books. How is it that they're allowing you to put up a free podcast audiobook version of the same book that they're trying to sell in the stores?
Well, it's two things. Number one, Crown is very aggressive in trying new marketing tactics and being open to trying anything they can. Like, how do we? They're in the game to sell books. They want to find new ways to sell books in the digital space that's going to bring in customers that they wouldn't otherwise reach. So, as marketing budgets are shrinking and revenue is dropping across the board in publishing, they look at this and say, this doesn't cost us anything to go out and get new fans for Scott, because Crown's taking a very long-term view on me and how they can sell my whole catalog over many, many years to come.
Got it.
But they have come to that because when we first sold Infected, we were fortunate enough that went into auction and several houses were bidding on it. And my only caveat with the agent was just make sure everybody who bids on this understands that everything I put out is going to be a podcast, serialized, and will be available for free. That's the only demand that I had. And Crown was totally down with that. So when we signed the deal with Crown, it was written right into the contract that I could continue to give content away for free via podcast. So they've been in bed with that since square one. They're totally behind it. And what they're finding is that my books that, once you get the flash bang of the book being out and it's in the front of stores and yay, this is a new book by Sigler, awesome, everyone go get it, which they do for almost everybody. After that is done, book sales taper off, and after about a year or so, they dwindle to almost nothing. The people who are going to buy it have bought it. What they're finding with my books is they're still selling 200, 400 copies a week, somewhere in that ballpark. So the back catalog sales for me, even with just 3 books out, is higher than what they're dealing with most of their authors.
Wow.
So right now, Crown is kind of laughing all the way to the bank on this. They're like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but the free stuff out there, so many more people are willing to try the book because it's free. They get hooked. Wait a minute, I can only get to episode 14. I have to wait another 3 months to hear this whole thing. They just throw in the towel and they go buy the book. So it works out great for Crown. And the final part of that is even the people who are willing to tough it out over the course of 30 weeks and listen to the book for free, weekly, episodic, and enjoy that, they're still talking to other people. They're still talking at the water cooler at work, talking to friends and family. Oh, my God, I heard this great new author. You would love this book. And they're buying it as a gift, or the people they're talking to go out and buy it. So it's just turned out to be free advertising It's great quality control because the audience gets a chance to try it before they buy it, and they know they're going to like the book before they put their money down, and that makes brand loyalty and happy fans for years to come.
So do you have a copy of the same book for sale via Audible and Crown as well?
Yes. The Infected, Contagious, and Ancestor are all available via Audible, and they still do pretty well there. It really comes down to a matter of convenience. People will discover me because via search engine for free book or free audiobook, they'll try it out, they'll listen to the back catalog and enjoy it, and then at some point, a lot of people are like, well, I can wait for this every week, or I could just go drop $20 and get the whole thing downloaded and have it be listening to it tomorrow as I go to work.
Right.
So, it really has not impacted Audible.com sales at all. I think it would if Stephen King was out there, giving away his audiobooks for free. I think it would hurt his sales because enough people have already spent money on him and go, oh, I'll go get this for free. They would find a way to go get it and make the time. Yeah. But for someone who's only got a few books out, I think it makes a lot more sense. There's a lot of fans. It's worth the $20 to them to just go buy the thing and be listening to it and be done with it. So it hasn't hurt sales at all.
Okay. So let's move along. I want to go to our next segment. It's a little thing that I call What You Reading. So tell me, Scott, what is on the nightstand of doom?
Let's see. I just got finished with a book called Pick a Number, which is a murder mystery thriller, and I'm afraid I am blanking on the name of the author right now. But that was a book that was really pushed by Crown. That was pretty enjoyable. I'm reading a book called Darwin in the Machine, which is a nonfiction book. Also, can't remember the name of the author of that one. I'm reading Child 44. Yeah. So those two books I'm reading, and also as I'm getting ready to write the next books, Pandemic and the All Pro, I'm going back and rereading my own books. So there's a lot of different books going on. Then on the iPad, I am on book 2 of the Hunger Games series. Since my wife already bought those, I read the first one. It's already on the iPad, so I'm reading that as well. So I'm reading about 6 books at once, which is relatively inefficient.
Yes, well, very good. So let's, I guess we'll move on now to the news. So book news this week, a couple of items. First one, as BlackBerry unveiled the new Playbook tablet, our ebook newser blog broke the news that Amazon already has their Kindle app ready to go for it. So so we have a new tablet by BlackBerry in the market with the Kindle already preloaded, which is nice. I mean, we kind of expected this. We're expecting Android tablets and a lot of competitors to the iPad and Kindle to come out this fall. I guess I have sort of a macro question about this. What do you think of the ebook revolution, especially in light of the fact that what you're doing with your own books is counter, really, to, I mean, you're basically dealing in physical books with the Rookie and the Starter, and limited editions and high quality. This is sort of seems to me to be the inverse of distribute it widely on Kindles and iPads and all that kinds of thing. So tell me, what do you think about the ebook revolution, and how does it relate to your efforts right now?
Well, it fits very closely with the efforts we have right now. We're really hammering on that first hardcover release to the collectors, the diehard fans, people that have that emotional attachment to the series, to the story, and they want it on their bookshelf. And I always go back to one of the things I noticed is I went out and met more and more people. You go to someone's house, no matter what their economic status or what they were into, Republican, Democrat, etc., almost every house had the Harry Potter series on the shelf. Right. People like having a series on the shelf. So that's what we're printing the hardcover set for. So
it's people who love the physicality of books.
Yeah. People love the physicality of the books, or they just want to support the free podcast. There's a memento there that's for them and them alone. But what happens as we progress through the next 5 books in this series and any other books that we put out through Dark Overlord Media is the back catalog begins to grow. Right. And the back catalog as ebooks and downloadable audiobooks, that's going to take advantage of this huge explosion in the tablet market space and all the brilliant stuff that Kindle is doing by becoming a de facto reader and store on all of these devices. So we're really looking at this in a 10 and 20 year arc, and we're really excited because it goes back to your earlier line of questioning is warehousing is really expensive. Print books are really expensive. Once you've got an ebook done, you can sell an ebook for $10, $9, $8, a much smaller price point. People are much more apt to buy that, then buy up the whole series, enjoy that, feel like they got value for their money. And, you know, as the guy making the books, we don't have a warehouse. We don't have to ship anything. We don't have postage. We don't have insurance on these books. It's fabulous for the small business entrepreneur, the small publisher, the Midwest publisher. People are really going to dig it.
Got it. Okay. Okay, second story. Today, and this was a couple days ago, Amazon launched Kindle for the web, which allows readers to sample books through a web browser instead of actually requiring you to have a Kindle or an iPad. As you may know, I'm sure you know because you're a user of these things, you can download the first chapter of any book in the world for free on your Kindle device. This allows you to do the same thing right from a web interface. In addition, bloggers and website owners who participate in the Amazon Associates program, which is their referral program, can actually put the Kindle for the web app in their site and put the first chapter of any book, and anytime somebody buys through that app, they will get a referral, just like just like Amazon referral fees work for links right now. Now, I found this pretty interesting because it reminded me a lot of things I've seen in the past from, say, Scribd and even DocStock, which are essentially document players that are embeddable in websites. So I guess, what do you think about embedding an entire book, first of all, in a web reader? Do you think that is a viable medium for someone to read an entire book, A, and then B, how do you think it works as a sampling mechanism?
I think it's great as a sampling mechanism. I still don't think many people are going to read a full book on their computer. I think it's the portability of the iPad and the Kindle and the upcoming BlackBerry tablet that's what's driving ebook sales. It's this small device that people can take with them no matter what they're doing, and the whole book is on there and they read it. Really, it's just an electronic version of a traditional book. You pull out this little thing, you read it. As far as sampling, I think you'll get people who will sample things on their computer, but I see a dichotomy brewing here where a lot of people who are readers are already spending most of their day in front of a computer anyways, and they really don't want to sit down for another half hour to an hour to read stuff. It's great that they're providing that sampling opportunity now to everybody, no matter whether you're on a smartphone, a tablet, or a PC or a Mac. Now you can get the sample, but I don't really see it as being a way that a lot of people are going to consume full books. On to and actually I agree with you as well. I don't think that I've actually tried to read full books in, I'm not going to say whose reader. They're all fairly equivalent though, to be completely honest. But it's not really a web experience. Right. On the other hand, I've fallen very much in love with the Kindle first, and then when the iPad came out, Kindle on the iPad is, to me, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the preferred reading. I like it better than what Apple's done, to be honest with you, with their iBooks product. Okay, so third story of the day. The Social Network, the film, is coming out this weekend. And everyone's heard now who hasn't heard of Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, allegedly anyway, as the film explores. Mark Zuckerberg's name is on everyone's lips, at least for this weekend. It comes out now today that he has a comic book. So they're actually doing Mark Zuckerberg, the comic book, this weekend. Awesome. So that's being put out by, a company called Blue Water, I believe. And the comic attempts to answer the question, who is the real Mark Zuckerberg? So, as a master of horror yourself, how high on the horrorometer do you think this rates?
If I'm Mark Zuckerberg, you just had to be going, really? Seriously? You guys are going to make a comic book about me? But, that's what happens when you become a multimillionaire and everybody's got their eyes on you.
Multi-billionaire.
Multi-billionaire.
Worth more than Steve Jobs as of this week.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that in real money, though, or is that in potential stock sale? I don't understand this part of things.
Well, it's potential stock sale, but I'm sure he's able to take out loans against that. So
I'm pretty sure
it's so large now that it'll be worth something, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's going to get paid. But, I hopefully he's enjoying the ride, and a lot of the stuff that's going on around him, he can just roll with it and ignore it. He's so young, and he's doing so well. Plus, you really have to enjoy his counter-programming. Oh, you're going to make a bad movie about me? Pow! Here's $100 million for schools in New Jersey. Now who's a jackass?
Right.
He's done whoever his management is, unless or if he's coming up with that himself, he's doing a really good job at countering all of this. You know what? And I love Facebook. I use it all the time. So whatever he's doing, I hope he does well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then our last story of the day: HarperCollins is launching a new conservative book imprint called Broadside Books. It's going to come out in January of 2011. Adam Bello has been named the head of the new division, and it's basically going to be all conservative books, as I said. So question, is this the Fox News of book imprints? And are there others? I'm not really aware of any others. I know you tend to be on the conservative side of things, or at least that's my observation. So what do you think of this?
First of all, it's a business decision by them because conservative books sell extremely well.
Yeah.
A lot of the radio pundits and TV pundits, when they come out with a book, it's a #1 bestseller and it sells an enormous amount of copies. And the publishing industry is finally woken up and going, hold on, these people buy books?
Right.
And so they're going to make books for them. If it's a imprint that is specifically designed to write conservative books, yeah, it's going to be kind of a Fox News of books. And I think you'll find other people following suit. The conservative market is turning out to be voracious readers. They're very loyal customers, so this seems like a really smart decision by them. I'm sure that they're going to do pretty good.
Yeah, News Corp is the parent company of both HarperCollins and Fox News, so it would seem to be sort of a logical thing for them.
And there's absolutely no shortage of books that are extremely liberal out there in the marketplace.
Sure.
So, it will continue to be MSNBC, Fox. You can get both ends of the political spectrum, and you can get insanity from either direction. It's up to you.
Yeah, sure. Got it. Okay. Well, that's all the time we have today. I got a couple announcements before we go. First of all, I'd like to personally thank TriCaster. TriCaster is the device that we use that powers This Weekend. It's essentially, we've called it the flux capacitor that makes This Weekend possible. So heartfelt thanks to the folks at TriCaster and NewTek, the company that makes the TriCaster device. And I also promised that I would tell you how to get an iPad. We are this week giving away an iPad across the This Weekend family of programs. The way you enter to win is you tweet thanks to one of our sponsors sponsoring. So, for example, I'll tell you that Hover. So if you say thanks, tweet thanks to @Hover for sponsoring This Week in iPad, and you have to use the # TWIIP. This is important because this is what we're going to search for to pick a random tweeter in order to win the iPad. So if you don't put the # TWIIP, we can't find you. And you must thank one or more of the sponsors of one of our shows. It doesn't have to be This Week in iPad. It could be This Week in Startups, This Week in Music, any of the myriad of shows that we have. So we hope you all tweet thanks to our sponsors, and good luck on that. And finally, Scott, why don't you plug your website and your Twitter handle, and where can we find you online?
Twitter is at Scott Sigler, SCOTTSIGLER. Same thing, scottsigler.com. If you guys want to snag the rookie or the starter, go to scottsigler.com/the starter. If Any Given Sunday meets Star Wars meets The Godfather sounds like something you'd be into or something that your kids would be into, I suggest you guys go get one now. I am pimping, but still, we're almost out of the rookie, and when it's gone, it's going to be gone for good in that format. And Sister, Infected and Contagious are in your favorite bookstore everywhere. Go get some and get scared.
Awesome. So thanks for coming, Scott. This has been This Week in Books. I'm Mark Jeffrey. We'll see you next time.